In this video, we want to take an overview of innovation, look at some of its features and some of the issues associated with the topic. So innovation involves creative thinking and is targeted at improving a product or process. So it's creative thinking. In other words, it really resides in the realm of the entrepreneur. It's the entrepreneur who is the creative thinker and is targeted at improving a product or a process. The ultimate objective of this, of course, is to increase efficiency, improve the product, perhaps reduce the price, increase market share, to improve the overall performance in the market. So it involves creative thinking, that's the point. It's not straightforward. It can be quite sophisticated thinking, unusual thinking. And as I said, that is the realm of the entrepreneur. Innovative thinking involves the development of new knowledge and competencies to bring new products and new ways of working into existence. So innovative thinking is about newness, new knowledge, and making sure that there are competencies within the business to exploit that knowledge. There's no point in knowing something if it can't be operationalized. It needs to be operationalized, incorporated into a product or into a process. This new way of working or this new product, it needs to be incorporated and then delivered. And the ultimate objective is to deliver a product which is more acceptable to the customer, which will give the company greater market share, greater profitability, greater sustainability, or alternatively, will internally improve a process and thereby reduce costs, increase efficiency, increase engagement amongst the workforce. It'll be a newness, a different way of working, a different product, a different process, or a different way of working. And all of this we can link together under the heading of innovation. Innovation involves creative thinking and is targeted at improving a product or process. So we have two parts to innovation. We should always remember this. It's to improve a product or to improve a process. The process being some perhaps internal process, perhaps in production or manufacturing. But it could also be a process associated with marketing, a process which will improve marketing, a different way of marketing. That would be an innovation. It could also be a way in which training is delivered amongst the workforce. Training for them to acquire new skills, to produce new products, improve their competencies. And this innovation could be the use of computers as training media, or it could be the use of videos, or it could be the use of some online facility, or it could be simply a different way of organizing the existing processes. So innovation develops new knowledge. It's something new, and it's new to the management and the workforce and the customers. It's a newness. It also gives new competencies, new skills, new abilities to the workforce, which may widen their experience. It may be job enlargement. Now they're doing things differently, which will give them more interest. It gets them out of the routine. It's a new way of working. But it also generates new products. So the customers are happy because now the products are not stale. The products are not the same old products that have been in existence for many years. There is a newness about the product. And the whole aspect of innovation can be rolled up in saying it's a new way of working. It's a new way of working that brings new products to the market, introduces new ways of doing things internally in the business, new marketing procedures, new routines. It's different. And the goal is to increase market share, perhaps reduce the price, greater market penetration, or simply cut costs, increase worker engagement, and have a more dynamic view and a more modern view of the business. Now, the forms of innovation. Well, the following are some of the ways in which innovation developments may be manifest. The use of new materials and their introduction into the production process. Perhaps products were made out of a certain material, and they've always been made out of that material, and then through innovation, other materials can be used, perhaps different forms of materials. It's new materials replace the older materials, the more traditional materials. And also, perhaps it's the case that older materials are more difficult to acquire. We live on a small planet, what the great economist Kenneth Boulding once called Spaceship Earth. And as we use up our resources, there will be less around. So there's a constant quest for new ways of developing processes and developing products and developing raw materials and developing them perhaps in a more sustainable manner. So it's a quest for new materials and their introduction into the production process. But also looking at new production and distribution methods. We know that industry has gone through a revolution because of the introduction of computer systems, and now artificial intelligence is starting to set in terms of quality inspections, and there is online monitoring, and there are all sorts of issues that was not around in the past. And we see it on television often, large factories with almost no workers, no humans. These factories seem to just run themselves. And the employees who are there to maintain the system. They're not making perhaps the final product. They are instead servicing the machines that make the product. So it's all new. New way of working, new way of distributing the products. We have better logistical systems, computer involvement again, making sure that products are delivered when promised, and that routes are worked out for the drivers, and the lorries are loaded at a particular time and distributed, and so on. It's different to what was around many years ago when life seemed to be more easygoing. Now, because of competitive pressure from around the world, there is an issue about ensuring that the products and processes are up to date and new. So it's developing new technology. Much of the technology that is used in companies may be customized to that particular industry. The basic platform may be universal. It may be a computer, and a computer essentially processes zeros and ones. It processes data. But through the use of specialist programming, the computer becomes customized to the requirements of that business. And that becomes a part of the property of the business. It's an asset of the business. The software is an asset. It's important for the business because it's what helps to run the business. So it's developing new technology. And there's a constant pressure to modify the product in line with market feedback. Customers want new products. They want to experience new products, and when they buy something, they think it's very good, they just purchased it. However, wouldn't it be nice if it could do the following, or if it was offered in a different shape, or in a different functionality, or a simple addition to the product perhaps could give it extra dimensions. And we're seeing that all the time. We see it with smartphones. A smartphone makes a phone call, but it also takes pictures, plays music, sends emails, surfs the web. It goes on and on what smartphones can do. So it's not just a telephone. These additional factors have been added in. It's a new design with new functionality. But it's not just phones. We have it around the house with a washing machine. We'll have different programs according to the different types of fabric. Some washing machines will save water, will save energy. So it permeates the whole way we live, but we're constantly on the lookout for new designs, better designs. And the company that comes up with the better designs is the company that will win the market and hence make more profits and be more successful. It could also be to extend the range of uses of a product. To extend it means the product is used in ways which previously were not anticipated. Back to the smartphone again. The smartphone is a telephone. And by adding on a camera, it becomes a camera and a phone. It's been extended. And then if we add Wi-Fi to that recipe, we get the internet, the camera, and the phone. And from there we can add on and on and on. So the same product is now grown into a mini computer. Factors that lead to successful innovation. Well, it depends on the market response to the innovation. Successful innovation must be approved. The innovation must be approved by the market. The market must want the product. They must want to purchase the product. And that's what we mean by successful. Successful is not simply people saying it's good. It's them willing to buy the product. Customers register their opinions about an innovation through the market mechanism, and specifically its price and quality changes. In economics, when we study the market, we know that customers have an effective demand. We have an aspirational demand. We would like to have a particular car, but we can't afford it. So it's just in our minds. It's not effective. But we buy something, it is effective. We have the resources and we buy it. That's effective demand. And customers vote for products by making those purchases. What the customers are saying is they like the product, they want the product, and they are prepared to part with their money to get the product. So they're voting for the product, voting for its attributes, for its perceived quality, for its functionality. They're voting for it, they want it. That's the market mechanism. Successful innovation depends on successful entrepreneurship. The entrepreneur is simply a person who is alert to profit opportunities. That's the definition of entrepreneurship. It's someone who is alert to profit opportunities. That definition was put forward by a famous economist called Israel Kirzner, Kirzner. Kirzner's idea was that entrepreneurship is being alert. It's someone who is aware of the market and knows how to marshal the resources, organize the resources in a way that they can produce a solution to the market requirements. And sometimes the customers themselves don't know that they have that requirement. After all, no one went out and demanded a microwave oven before it was put on the market, because the concept of a microwave oven was totally alien to everyone. No one thought such a thing could exist. No one really demanded a smartphone before it happened. And now we eagerly watch Apple and its big presentation shows, and we look at Microsoft, and we see what they're putting on the market, because they're leading us. It's their entrepreneurship that's leading us into buying those products. So successful innovation depends on successful entrepreneurship. The entrepreneur must anticipate what the customers want. And once it's delivered, the customers in reality should want to purchase that product. That makes it a successful innovation. Now, important factors include ensuring that the product design matches customer requirements. The product design must agree with what the customers want. The customers must be happy to take on that design. If they're not happy with the design, they won't purchase it. So at the most basic level, the design must match the customer's requirements. Its market price should be attractive to customers whilst generating a profit for the entrepreneur. So if it's perceived as too expensive, the customers will not purchase it. Customers will only purchase it if they think it's worth buying. So customers will pay what they think is the right price for them. If that price is too low, so the entrepreneur can't make a profit, the business will go under. The business will go out of existence. The entrepreneur will have failed. So the price that the entrepreneur sets is a balance. It must make the customers happy. The customers can get the product at the price they want. But also, that price generates a profit for the entrepreneur. And this, as I said, is the realm of economics. Ensuring that management has the skills to successfully innovate production and new product development. It's important that the culture within a business is innovative, that the management are constantly looking at what they're doing, trying to get new ideas, new ways of working, new developments, be it cost-saving equipment or cost-saving routines, or cutting out certain processes that are unnecessary, so that costs are being cut on the one hand, leading to more efficiency. Because as a company, that's what they want, but also as a society, we want efficient producers. So the management are constantly looking at how the product can be changed, make it more attractive to the customers, and at the same time looking at better ways of producing the item. And finally, engage in successful product placement and marketing. It's pointless developing a new product, a new innovative product, if the management don't know how to market it. If it can't be placed in the right market at the right time, at the right price. If the package is not correct, the product will fail, even though it's an innovative product, even though it's an attractive product. It must be marketed correctly. It must identify the target market. It must use the appropriate marketing channels. It must have the right place, the right price. It must be the right product, and it must use the right promotion. You see, I've just gone across the 4 Ps. Well, Nowadays we have the 6 Ps or 7 Ps or whatever it is. But the point is, it's necessary to have the whole package running correctly. The price must be right. It must be placed in the right market. It must use the right promotional techniques. It must identify their customers and their customer needs. The product must address those needs. And if all of this happens, it will be a successful innovation. Now, the types of innovation. Well, develop a new or improved product. Introduce a new production process or a new way of marketing and distributing the product. There's 2 examples. Developing a new market or extending an existing market. Developing a new market, perhaps taking a product, altering it slightly and placing it in a different part of the market. Identifying a niche in the market that perhaps hitherto was not being served. Now, altering the product and placing it there may lead to greater sales. Or it could be trying to extend the existing market, trying to push out the existing market, looking at the competitors in the market and trying to outsmart them by delivering an even better product, one that incorporates all the best of their features plus additional features, and perhaps delivering it at a cheaper price. Trying to extend the market. Development of new raw materials and methods of production. I said earlier, the pressures on management to ensure that they are being innovative internally within the business to try and cut costs, cut out waste, streamline their production, but also looking at the raw materials, what goes into the product, constantly put those under review to see if there's anything better available. Look at the method of production and see if it can be improved upon so it's even more efficient. Redesign the organisation to improve efficiency. Look at the whole business organisation. Look at the way it's laid out. Look at who's doing what. Is there duplication in the administration? Is everyone doing something which is adding value to the organisation? If they're not, in a sense, they are dead weight. They're being carried by the others. So it's important that the organisation should look critically at itself to see if it can improve efficiency in terms of its structure, its design, the functionalities within it, the way it's laid out. See if it can be streamlined, if it can be improved upon. We also have this issue of intellectual property. Intellectual property is what's incorporated in the product. It's the design of the product. It's the functionality of the product. And that may have been registered by someone, so they've got a legal claim on the design of the product to stop others from copying it. Innovative ideas that have market potential should be protected from unauthorized use. Now, there is an issue of copying around the world. In the past, American jeans, clothing, or American clothing in general, mostly jeans, they would have been copied in many markets throughout the world, because the copied item was much cheaper than the original. It wasn't perhaps to the same quality, but it looked the same, or generally speaking, it looked the same. But that, of course, was cheating the people who came up with the design in the first place. It was their idea. But the people who are copying it are stealing the idea to generate profit for themselves. It's not their idea. They just want to steal the idea to make a profit. We also have patents, or some people say patents. This involves the use of the legal system to acquire and register the exclusive right to make, use or sell an innovation. So a patent is something which, it's an instrument, a legal instrument that gives the developer the legal right to that particular item. And if someone else comes along, another business comes along and tries to take that item and produce it, they are stealing it. They're breaking the law. They can be sued. They can be taken to court and made to account for what they've done. So a patent is a legal protection. It incorporates all of the features of the product, the drawings, the development, the raw materials, how it's organized. All of this detailed information is registered at the patent office or the patent office. It's all lodged there, and if someone then comes up with a cheap copy, the company who did it, who registered it, can take legal action against them. So it's legal protection for a commercial idea. It will exclude others from making and offering for sale the innovation. Of course, it's very difficult to enforce this, particularly if it's international. Go back to the example I mentioned with American jeans in the past. It happens with watches and videos and music, and it happens right across lots of products around the world. But let's say the company who makes the jeans know that in a certain country there's a company producing fake items purporting to be theirs, and they may have a patent on it, but it's very difficult to enforce it in that country. Perhaps the legal system is not as developed, or perhaps the legal processes will take a long time, during which time the offending party will continue to make the jeans and sell them. So there are issues about enforcement. There's also licensing. This is when a patent owner grants permission to use the innovation or the patents. So a company may come up with a good idea and patent it, let's say. So they patent the idea, and it's a good idea, it's a commercial idea, but then they may license it to a company for that company to make it. And they will agree in the license agreement about how profits or how revenues will be split between them. Each one taking a certain percentage, perhaps. So a license is an agreement between the entrepreneur who developed the idea and a producer who's just to make it. Royalty fees are usually received in return for the permission. Normally it's an agreement. The entrepreneur gives the idea to a company to produce, and in return the entrepreneur receives royalty fees. We also have copyrights. Copyrights give the innovator the exclusive legal right and protect the original work from being copied. Normally it applies to written work, or could apply to music or films. Again, trying to stop copiers. People who haven't got good ideas for themselves, they just simply want to steal other people's good ideas and sell it as their own. So we have this issue of copyrights. Now, in the course, on the innovation course that we're offering here, all of these issues will be discussed in more detail: licensing, copyrights, patents, and so on. And there are even separate classes on entrepreneurship that should be looked at. But this is a general introduction to the whole idea of innovation and some of the issues associated with innovation. And that's all we're going to deal with here. Those are some of the sources that we've looked at in developing this. And having said that, let's leave it at that and say thank you for watching.